Good afternoon, friends, followers, channel members. How are we all doing? We've got the FENIX now obviously released, and I had a little bit of time this afternoon, so I thought, well, I know a few people are having some issues. It's obviously a brand new aircraft, lots to try and get our head around. I've been in the FENIX Discord server doing what I can this morning to try and help some guys out who may be having some issues. But I think everything is always better when you can actually explain things live in the actual simulator. So I thought I've got a bit of time this afternoon, so maybe we could perhaps do a sort of live Q&A where you guys can ask any questions you may have got, and we'll try and talk through things. I'm currently sat at Manchester Airport. I'm not actually live weather or anything, although I can hear an engine somewhere coming out of my right hand ear, unless that might actually be my APU. My APU may have fired itself up. I'll check. I think I've got live traffic on. Let's just jump back inside. Oh, that's better. That's much quieter. It's not my APU. There's definitely another aircraft knocking about somewhere. It's not me. So, first of all, for those of you that have had the aircraft, what are your opinions on it? Is it a winner? Do you like it? Have you managed to get everything sorted? I've got probably, you know what, actually I've got a couple of hours. I've got myself a nice hot cup of tea, and I've got a couple of hours here just to dedicate to you guys and this amazing aircraft. And if anyone's got any problems, we're going to try and get you guys up and away, which is the main aim of this stream. So I will do my best to keep up with the chat. Obviously, I don't really intend on flying anywhere today, unless someone needs to see something really specific and time allows. So I've actually got time dedicated to read the chat and hopefully answer any questions you guys may have. So let's get started. First of all, yep, there is a brief profile for the FENIX. It's in their Discord server if you want to go ahead and check that out. I think it's even labeled. It's got its own little channel, the SimBrief. Yeah, the SimBrief channel in Discord. It's okay. I'm just opening up Discord as we're as I'm telling you this. Very important that you use the SimBrief profile, because obviously if you're using SimBrief, if you're not using SimBrief, it doesn't really matter. But if you are using SimBrief, you must use their SimBrief profile. And the reason for that is because the SimBrief profile that is set up by the team is for this aircraft specifically. So it's maximum landing weight, it's maximum takeoff weight, and things like that. It's all in there. So I've gone ahead and obviously I've got it. In fact, I've got two. I've got a beta testing one, and this is the main one. What I could do, can I put this in the chat? Let me see. One of the things about it when you're sharing the SimBrief profiles is that they're usually ridiculously long links, so it might not let me just copy that. It might not let me actually post this. Depends how big it is. Let me see. Oh, actually that wasn't as big as I expected. Right, so there is your SimBrief profile. You can just click on that link and it should automatically then get you that in SimBrief if you want to use it. Would I recommend the fly-by-wire or FENIX? It all depends on what you expect. Obviously, the FENIX is a very high quality payware addition to your hangar in Microsoft Flight Simulator. If you're more of a casual simmer, then maybe fly-by-wire is the way to go. But if you really want that extra depth of realism with all function, all systems working, and as close to real life as possible, then for me it would have to be the FENIX. Jolty, good evening. Danny Rubble, good morning to you as well. Or is it afternoon? I think I've just crossed 3 different time zones in one sentence there. Razzleman Music, you haven't been able to fly it yet. The power went out. Oh no, that's no good. Adam, you keep getting side stick fault. Set null zones on the eCam. You've tried setting the null zone as high as 20% and it's still happening. Right, if you're setting it as high as 20%, then what will be happening? Let me just add some power to the aircraft. 1 second. If you were if you're getting that, then let me just come down and have a look. Your null zones want to be very, very small. You want very, very small null zones, because if not, they're going to be overlapping. So have a look at my null zones here. My null zones are just set to 0.5, and well, yeah, that really is as big as you want to go. It all as well depends, remember, on the it depends on the hardware that you're using. So I'm using the Thrustmaster TCA Captain's Pack. So the fact that I think a lot of people will be using that, and for mine it needs to be set to 0.5. Otherwise, I get a small problem with the overlapping areas. But obviously, now you can see as I'm moving this, I'm getting them perfectly in the detents as I need to. So try not to go any. I think the default setting is 2. Any more than that, you're probably going to get some issues, and they will overlap. But yeah, that's less is more. Smaller is definitely better. Captain B, you downloaded this last night and first time flying it this evening on VATSIM. Excellent. Neil brought you're having camera issues. So Neil, what camera issues are you having? That is a good point, actually. I've got my custom camera views, which anybody is welcome to. I tell you what I'm going to do. Let me just grab. Let me just bring up the Discord server. I'll not post these in the FENIX Discord server. I will post these in our Discord server. So if one of our lovely channel members could just cue the Nightbot for me to link in our Discord, I'm going to pop in the camera config file for this aircraft. I'm going to do that just now, and just bear with me while I find it. And then I'll show you where it is you need to put it, because if you put it in the wrong place, you can screw things up. Obviously, we don't want that. So the FENIX A320 custom camera setup. Right, that's okay. I've just popped that in the pilot's briefing room on our Discord server. Let me show you though where that needs to go, and this is very, very important. So if you're using the store version of Microsoft Flight Simulator, then if you just find your community folder, go back a couple of folders to your local cache, and in there you then have sim objects. From sim objects you need to go up to airplanes, and then come down to the FENIX 320 folder, and it is this folder here. You may already have one in there, and it's fine to replace it. That won't screw anything up. If you are worried about that, obviously just perhaps make a backup copy of this, place it on your desktop, something like that. But yeah, my custom cameras are now available in the in our Discord server, and I'll check with the FENIX guys if they want me to post that in there as well. I could perhaps do that later. Right, so that's that done. Let's see what else. So Captain B, same thing. Does it come with cameras set? So it should come if you're using the control button. The control. So I'm now pressing Control 1, Control 2, Control 3, Control 4, Control 5. So all of these obviously are showing you the different various instruments. To reset those, just press the letter F. To use the custom views, which is what I've just pinned in our Discord server, these are the custom views, so you're getting these lovely wing views. These are not default. These are the ones that I've had to go ahead and set up. Yeah, there they are. Tony, you'd like to see a good honest comparison between this and the fly-by-wire. Do you mean to put for sort of like performance and things like that? Can I test the aircraft in Brussels and see the FPS performance? There's a video on that I did not so long ago, only yesterday actually, and I think that was okay. Let's see what else we've got. So, just working my way through the chat. How can I get access to the Mcdo using a web browser like you can in the fly-by-wire? At the moment you can't. You can only access the tablet, the flypad, the EFB, whatever you want to call it. That you can access in a web browser or on a tablet. You cannot access that. You cannot access the Mcdo just yet. But it is in the. It is in the works, so that'll happen in the future. Thomas, do I think there'll be more liveries to come, like Wizz Air, Scandinavian? Yeah, so obviously at the moment you've only got the CFM engine option here in the FENIX. They're going to put the IG option, not IAG. Yeah, you know what I mean. But the other engine option in the future. When that's done, that's when we'll perhaps get some more liveries, because Wizz Air and Scandinavia, they don't fly the CFE engines, which is why we haven't got liveries for this at the moment. Dennis, great aircraft but no controls worse. You got to work Thrustmaster, Walkard and Cytec pedals. Okay, I don't think you should have too many issues with that. We know that there are currently issues with people flying on like an Xbox controller and things. To be honest, I am amazed that people are actually flying this with a control device rather than some sort of flight simulator hardware. It wouldn't have even crossed my mind to try and fly this aircraft with a gaming controller. Simple takeoffs after editing, camera config. The aircraft looks black at the front on the outside, like aesthetics don't render. Right, okay, so that is just a sim limitation. What you've got to remember is that the airframe you see when you're outside here, this is the drone mode. The airframe you see when you're on the outside here, this model, is different from the airframe you would see using this camera, which is the internal camera. And the idea is that when you're using this camera, the internal camera, the airframe outside isn't modelled perfectly because it doesn't need to be. You're inside. We just see what. Okay guys, sorry about that. Hopefully it will slowly be will be coming up. That was a pain. What a time for Streamlabs to go and have a moment. Let me just get back in and ping the Discord guys. Let them know that things are slowly coming back up. Then we'll get launched back into the simulator. Streamlabs threw a wobbly. I actually shut the PC down and quickly restarted it. Because it's just better that way. Otherwise, things are left a little bit unstable, and we don't want that. So just bear with me, guys. I'm just continuing to set things back up, and then we'll get back live again. Right, so let me just launch Microsoft Flight Simulator again after that. Just so you guys know, it wasn't a crash to desktop. Well, it was a Streamlabs crash, and then I closed things down so that I could just restart the PC. There was also a setting I wanted to change as well, which I'd completely forgotten about, and that also gave me the chance to do that. Right, Microsoft Flight Simulator is loading back in. So let me just continue working through the questions. My apologies if I did miss any of those questions. So obviously feel free to ask again. Scott Evans asks, hey guys, is the FENIX a more difficult plane to fly than the fly-by-wire, considering it's a study level plane? Well, Scott, if you're happy with the fly-by-wire aircraft and you can fly the fly-by-wire aircraft and you're comfortable flying it, you will have no problems flying the FENIX. Essentially, all of the systems are exactly the same. The only difference is you can go even more in-depth and simulate much more realism. And you've got, I don't know, you've got little things like, for example, the equitime point is there, and working. You have realistic load sheets, all of that thing. The airline operations will shout at you if you're late, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's just really neat. Yeah, just trying to think what else sort of. The main thing is the secondary flight plan works, so you can do proper engine out procedures. And of course, this doesn't even begin to scratch the surface when it becomes to realistic failures and things. And when I say failures, I think I've got to be very careful, because what I don't want you guys to think is, oh, failure, engine failures, bang. It's far more refined than that. We can simulate minute failures, little failures like little electrical failure. That doesn't mean losing power to the entire aircraft, by the way. Things like radio altimeter failures. So if your radio altimeter fails, well, that's it. That's your Cat 3 gone. So if the weather are at those minimums, you're going to have to go and divert, which little things like that help really adding to the realism for that kind of stuff. And that's the kind of stuff that I really like. J-Hog, it took you nearly 2 hours, but you're in the air. 2 hours? You fly the fly-by-wire all the time. You shouldn't have had any issues. Towards Forever, sensitivity settings for the TCA stick. I'll show you mine in a moment once we've got loaded in. Ryan Young says, yeah, you only had half an hour in it last night. Wasn't great frames, but we'll have a go after work tonight. I think balanced option will be best for the setup, just not sure how the CPU, etc. works. Play around with it. And you know what the main thing is? That with the FENIX app, and this is really great, once you've got yourself in the aircraft and the FENIX app, and obviously the FENIX app's running in the background, maximize it, because it'll be sat in your systems tray. Maximize it and play around with the settings. You can do that on the fly. You don't have to set it, you don't have to like stop Flight Simulator and then launch the app, change it, save it, and then launch the simulator again. You can do it in the simulator with it working, and you can test it out. You can turn on developer mode, check out the FPS in the top right hand corner when you've got that turned on, play with the FENIX app, watch how different settings affects the frame rates on the fly, and you'll see improvements or it getting worse depending on what you've set. So yeah, it's really easy to really easy to test. Mcdo, hello, anyone know the FENIX, if we can have the Mcdo on a tablet? No, you can have the tablet on a tablet, but you can't have the Mcdo on a tablet. That is a feature that will be planned in the future. RSA just bought and loaded the aircraft. The captain's camera view is way too zoomed in, can't see the screens. I've seen a couple of people say this, and I really don't understand how that has that happened. Mine doesn't do that, so not entirely sure about that. But you can go ahead and download the custom camera config files from our Discord server that I use, and I'll show those off again once the simulator loads. At this point, I've seen a problem in which the screens are really laggy. When you try to fly it, it freaks out. Same with Mcdo lagging. How to fix it? What settings have you got? Not just settings, but what's the hardware you're trying to run it on? Ryan, as soon as you change it to balanced performance in the FENIX app, you get much better frame rates. Yeah, mine's unbalanced. Definitely unbalanced. Paul Newman, good evening to you. Ryan, are we resetting our sensitivity settings from the fly-by-wire? Sensitivity settings, I have kept exactly the same. I haven't even had to mess around with those. 777, the custom views installed as shown are not working. Must not be installed in the right folder. 777. Just try again. Connor 7888, how do you get those wing views? So those are custom views that I've set up. You can go ahead and set up your own. I'll show you how to do that as well once we get in the sim. So just waiting for the sim to load. It takes so long. J-Hog, you've got a barrow ref cross-check. Help. Right, look at your FCU, your autopilot panel, the captain's QNH. What's that say? The first officer's QNH. What's that say? Are they both different? That's why you need to cross-check. There is a way to link those two in the electronic flight bag, just for ease. Felix, is there an option to pay without credit card or PayPal? I know lots of different options are being looked at the moment. PayPal is currently not being accepted, but the team are working as fast as they can, because obviously they want to roll this thing out to you guys. There is no benefit for the devs in not being able to let you guys purchase the aircraft, is it? Paul, do you need to purchase an aircraft if you want a full experience with this aircraft? No, you don't, but it's a bit like SimBrief. If you've got old AirX cycles in, Microsoft Flight Simulator uses up-to-date AirX cycles anyway, but they can be sometimes a month out of date, but they're probably newer than the free ones in SimBrief, which means sometimes you might just get little errors because little waypoints may not be there anymore, or airways change, things like that. So it is a possibility you may get some waypoint errors. There are ways around that, in which case you just look at your SimBrief flight plan, and instead of having to type in airways and things, you literally go through and type in every single waypoint, which is a pain, but it's a way to get around it. Ryan Young wants to think, when on rotation we let go of the side stick, the nose drops down, and we're meant to release it gently, or is it a setting? Right, Ryan, I'm really glad you brought that question up. So, if you're used to flying the fly-by-wire aircraft, the fly-by-wire is a neo version of the A320. It has rotate law. This is an older version of the A320. This does not have rotate law. So, when you rotate, what you'll have done in the fly-by-wire aircraft is you'll have rotated, you'll have looked then at the flight directors, got them perfectly centered, you will then probably have let go, won't you? Yeah? Which is absolutely fine. Rotate law is doing its thing. With the older version, the CEO version of the Airbus, well, that doesn't have rotate law. And what you may find as well is, as you're rotating, you really have to put quite a bit of back pressure through, following, get to push through sort of like the 10-degree pitch phase. And then when you do, you need to hold it there. The reason for that is because when you hit around 10 degrees, the wake from your engines is blasting over the horizontal stabilizer at the back. So it's in disturbed air. And the FENIX team have actually modelled this, so that is why you need to keep that back pressure there, just to let it settle, and then the fly-by-wire control sort of will take over, and as it moves into flight law. So so yeah, it's really well modelled. That is exactly how it should be. It handles slightly different to the Neo, the fly-by-wire. So I think that is I think that's great. Pierre, you've been having issues where the electronic flightback says you're not being connected to the sim. You've got the FENIX app running. Oh, that's really good. That's really frustrating because I've never actually had that, so I wouldn't know what to do with that. I would make sure. What I could potentially suggest is closing the app down, keep the simulator running, but close the app down, and then run the app again as administrator. It may help. It's just something to try, perhaps. Air Gandhi, good afternoon to you. Diffuse, when's the next Real Ops stream? That is a good question. I honestly don't know. I feel like I've spent my week in Microsoft Flight Simulator this week. Yeah, turn that off. I was messing around with that. I don't want that on. I'm also just going to turn off real world traffic. We don't need that on either. Right, let me just get back on the ground at Manchester. Just because I like Manchester. It's my home airport, or it's my largest home airport. I'm probably a little bit closer to Doncaster, Sheffield. There we go. Mike, can I let you know where the camera CFG file goes? Absolutely, I'll do this whilst it's loading in. So if you have just downloaded the camera CFG file from our Discord server, then you need to, if you find your community folder, go back a couple of folders to your local cache. From local cache, come down to Sim Objects, go to Airplanes, and find the FENIX 320 folder. It may already have a camera config file in there. You can replace this if you want to be ultra safe. You just copy and paste this on your desktop somewhere out of the way so you've got a backup. But that is where the camera config file goes. If you put it in any other place, then you could potentially screw up your camera settings. Don't do that. So hopefully that helped. Anthony S., you have an issue where you start in the plane, you get ready to taxi, you set thrust and the plane doesn't move for the life of me. Right, well, first thing, Anthony, make sure that chocks are removed and parking brake off. Also make sure that the tug has disconnected. Try and move with the tug connected, not good. And also what you are going to find is you're going to need a lot more thrust on these engines than the fly-by-wire, the Neo, in order to actually start to get moving. Sometimes I have to push it almost above 50% N1 to get moving. So don't be afraid to add a bit more thrust than perhaps you're used to. Laura's, will I still fly-by-wire on streams? I'm going to switch between them. Oh yeah, absolutely. Right, how can I connect to FENIX Control on the Hoppy's ACAR system? Right, okay, so FENIX Control was just something that the devs had set up whilst we were flying and live streaming to show you, just in case someone wanted an example of how it works. FENIX Control is not a real thing. They literally just set up their ACAR system so you guys could see it sort of in how it all works. So yeah, don't worry about that. That's not a real thing. Now, just watch this. I've loaded in. I've got all my engines running. I've got quite a few faults coming up. Don't worry. Don't worry. I've even set this. I think I activated this. Should be default cold and dark. Right. And it is default cold and dark. Look, everything's turning off. So you just need to give it 30. I see a few people saying I've selected cold and dark as my active state. Why, when I fire in, is everything alive? You just need to give it a minute or so. Let it just reset all its settings. And that is a very complicated piece of software, obviously. Just let it reset all the settings. Here we are, it's in, it's cold and dark. Now I'm in the state that I expected to be in, and I need to make sure that I do not forget that my battery will run out if I if I don't charge it. Let's see what else we got. What are my sensibility settings? My sensibility settings are rubbish, but my sensitivity settings, let's have a look. So if I go to my control options, I'm just going to show you what I've got here then. So they're my settings, pretty much quite linear. So that the y-axis is up and down. The x-axis is left and right. This is using a Thrustmaster TCA side stick for the Airbus as well. And then I've got the rudder is the x-axis just there. You'll notice I've got a little null zone in the center, and that's just when I rest my hand on it. You can see now I'm resting my hand on the side stick. I don't want that to put any inputs in, so I think it's worth setting just a little dead zone in the center. So hopefully that will help. Super Ali 74, will the FENIX be coming to the Xbox? No, it's a little bit too complicated for that. Plus you've got the external software running in the background, so that wouldn't work. Is there a way to change the first officer side stick and pedal disconnect? I'm not sure about the pedal disconnect. I'm not actually sure what you're asking to change there, if I'm completely honest with you. So not yeah. Sorry. If, have another go, Guns of Shots. I'll see if I can help a little bit further. Do I know if the IE engines and chocolates will be coming in the next couple of months? I have no time frame for that, I'm afraid, but when they do come, they will be free. Stefan, would I call the FENIX A320 study level? They don't like using that term. They say high fidelity, but I would say, off the record, yes. it's as realistic as you're going to get, that's for sure. I mean, how do I know when to descend with this aircraft? It gives you a top of descent. As long as everything in the box looks good and you've planned it all, it'll give you a little top of descent marker. It'll even on your flight plan page give you a top of descent in your flight plan as well. Just working my way down the chat. If I have missed your question, please do ask it again. I say I've got till about 1400 hours Zulu time, so another hour and a half to help you guys with this. Matthew, are there any good checklists out for this at the moment? There's a great one on the EasyJet SimPilot Discord, pretty much based on real life. But there is also a checklist. This is quite well hidden, actually. Let me just show you this. In fact, it's that well hidden. I've got to try and remember where it is. Is it in documents? Ah, there we go. You've got the normal checklist, and you've got the FENIX user guide. But yeah, that is a that's not a bad checklist to have, is it? So there we go. Will FENIX do a Neo version? I'm not actually sure. Captain B, sorry to say, it doesn't work on the camera settings. Someone prove me wrong. Is it just me? It could be, because well, these are my camera settings, as you can see, and well, I think they look rather splendid, particularly when you're flying. That's quite nice. Again, is predictive wind shear not working? No, not until the weather radar will work, and that all depends on Azobo, doesn't it? So no, that when they open that up, it will be fine. Unless, is there any official manual by FENIX of the aircraft? The problem is, this aircraft is so realistic, you'd probably need a real Ofcom, and the only way to get one of those is to work for an airline. There's lots of documentation they've provided. You can check that out on their Discord server. But if you, do you know what? There are so many tutorials as well on the Airbus, and even on my channel here. If you have seen the tutorials for the fly-by-wire, you can pretty much transfer all of that knowledge over to this aircraft, because it's most of the systems are exactly the same. Again, just going through. Where's the Virgin Australia livery? If they don't fly the CFE engines, then it won't be there. Anthony S, how do we know when the FENIX need to be updated and how? I'm sure the devs will ping you and will ping you with that. Neil, you couldn't push back last night as the tug wouldn't work on the toolbar pushback or the EFB. Do you know what? I have also had similar issues with this. So sometimes the tug driver goes for a bit of an early dart. He pushes back but does half a job, which is no good. So I think that is again perhaps something that may need to be investigated a little bit. TH just arrived to the stream. I'm running my displays on the CPU. Nicholas, does the tiller work separately? I think there is an option to set that in the EFB, but then you also need to set it up in Microsoft Flight Simulator as well. Let me just have a quick look. Even though I've spent so long with this aircraft, trying to remember where things are isn't always easy. Controls. Right, so you would need to turn that on, but then you'd also need to set up the controls in the simulator as well. Paul, using the Mcdo to calibrate the throttle doesn't support the reverse detent on the Bravo throttle. Is there a way around this? I don't have the Bravo throttle, so I can't really help, I'm afraid. What I would say is, hang on, let me just chuck some power on the aircraft again. Battery 1, battery 2, and some external power. There we go. What I would say is, when you go into the config menu and controls, when you move your thrust levers back to their bottom, the physical thrust levers, then it should be showing 0%. If it's not showing 0%, then then I'm not sure, to be honest. It will obviously be something to do with how the thrust levers are set up with their axes in Microsoft Flight Simulator, but unfortunately, as I don't have the Bravo throttle, I'm not really in a position there to help. I'm sure someone in the Discord chat will be able to help with that. Neil, is there a way to calibrate the throttle to a push and hold for the reversers? Your test doesn't have detents anywhere other than 50%. Right, well, if you're using a thrust lever throttle that doesn't have any detents, then you're pretty much going to have to play a little bit of a guessing game, I'm afraid. Again, that's probably one of the reasons why the Airbus thrust levers from Thrustmaster are really, really well set up for this aircraft. But I understand they're not cheap, and everyone's got their own individual hardware. But you can set up any of these detents anywhere you want. Between, and it's just, at the end of the day, it's just a sliding scale, isn't it? Between 0% and 100%, and where you decide to set those is entirely up to you. Anyway, setting up separate nose wheel steering like the fly-by-wire. Yeah, I think we may have just gone over that. Paul, is this the best plane you've ever flown in a simulator? It's probably the most realistic. Yeah. Captain B, the camera settings are fine. What you're saying is you don't believe it is as simple as taking the file and copying it into the correct folder. You've never got that working. I can promise you it is. I've gone through God knows how many different incarnations of this aircraft and updates during the beta testing, and all I've done prior to uninstalling it and then reinstalling it is bear in mind this is for the Microsoft Store as well, so Steam may be different. All I've done before I ever had to uninstall this and reinstall a new version was go to my local cache, scenery objects, airplanes, the FENIX folder. I'd copy that out, paste it somewhere safe, and then reinstall the new version of the aircraft, and then just come and pop it back in, and hey presto, everything was working. Edgar, does the A320 do the VNAV fully automatic? I see when top of descent is reached, the pilot must always push the Alt button. Is there a way for the plane to descend automatically like the 77? No! No, 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 no. We're not Boeing. We are Airbus. We control when we are going to descend. It is entirely up to you as the pilot. You've got two ways to do it. You can do it in open descent, or you can do it in managed descent. If you pop it in managed descent, it'll follow the VNAV profile. Rebel, you've been trying to play this mod with a controller, but the rudders don't work. Is there something you need to change? No, no, the devs are aware of this. Trying to play on a controller was perhaps something that we didn't envision when testing this aircraft out. Just because I don't think any of the beta testers had a controller, and if we had, we probably wouldn't have tried it. Because the aircraft is set up for obviously a side stick and thrust levers and rudder pedals and things like that, but the devs are working on a workaround for that. 777, is there a Simbi profile download? There is indeed. It's pinned to the top of this chat, so you go ahead and sort that out. Alison, I have a lot of stutters after takeoff. I think that's a sim limitation. Perhaps try lowering the settings of your simulator. Adam, can I explain why toolbar pushback doesn't work? Do FENIX know about the issue? They do indeed. There is a little memory leak we discovered with toolbar pushback, which is, you might be alright on shorter journeys, but long journeys it can degrade performance over time. Lucian, congratulations for developing this aircraft. I haven't developed it. I'm going to put that straight out there. That is well beyond my capabilities. I have not developed this aircraft. I've just been a hand in testing it and trying to make it as realistic as possible. But there's a huge team, obviously not just me, so I'm not taking any credit at all. Secondary flight plan uplink message, Kanga. Right, this will happen if you have your engines running and you try to import a flight plan from SimBrief. If your engines are running, it's going to throw it into the secondary flight plan rather than your primary flight plan. So uplink your SimBrief profile when your engines are not running. Or what you can do as well, of course, is just activate your secondary flight plan, and then it will work. Yeah, Paul Newman. So again, at the top of the chat, there's a SimBrief profile linked for this. Matt, is there a way to adjust interior versus exterior volumes if you have the flight deck as desired? The exterior sounds blast. Blast you. It is quite loud. That's quite realistic, though. I'm not sure if there is. Not on here anyway. You'd probably have to look at the sound in Microsoft Flight Simulator settings itself. Jay, is it just you, or does the aircraft stay 15 to 20 knots below the recommended speed in managed descent? It will, if you're in managed descent, it will target, you'll see magenta gates, the speed gates, top and bottom. They're the limits that it's going to try and use, shown down here. Do you know what? Shall I align the ideas and then at least I've got some displays to show you. There we go. Just go through a little bit of a setup. There we go. Right, so give that a sec. Does Microsoft Flight Simulator no longer update the nav data? It should do. Yeah, it should do. So Steve Bob says you can bind a reverse thrust to a press and hold button in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Yeah, so that's another way around of doing it. Flight Sim, when using toolbar pushback, you've noticed some of the sounds have gone. That sounds like a toolbar pushback thing. I'm afraid I can't help with that one. Captain B, it works for me when you transfer it to someone else's. It doesn't work. Somebody else's computer? Okay. J-Hog, in the fly-by-wire, when you press Control and number 5, fly-by-wire, you get the radar expanded. In the FENIX, you get the overhead panel. Is this not available anymore? Radar expanded. What you mean? The you mean popping out? Do you mean popping out the screens like this? You've confused me, J-Hog. I'm sorry. Gandhi, thank you so much for your very, very generous £10 donation there, continuing to support the channel. Thank you so much. Saying you may not have developed it, but you've certainly developed your skill level to be able to take it out for a spin. Just left Gatwick, headed for Hamburg. That sounds like a great route. Gandhi, thank you so much for your support. Really do appreciate that. Vinny, not sure if answered, but electronic flightback settings save the callouts panel states don't always seem to save. They revert back when loaded in. Okay, two things. So when you first load in the into the aircraft, it will always be powered up, despite what you have saved your settings as. If it's been cold and dark or turnaround state, it will always be powered up. Give it 60 seconds, just let it all calm down, and then it will revert to the state that you saved it in. However, they are livery specific. So if you set cold and dark in one livery, then you jump to another livery, it won't remember the cold and dark until you set it in that livery, so that all your settings are livery dependent. Neil, how do I move through the cabin via the cockpit? Okay, so here we are in the cockpit, and to stand up, I'm just pressing the up and down, left and right arrows on my keyboard. Turn around. If we open the door, there we go. I haven't worked out how to walk forwards yet, so I have to walk a bit like a crab using the arrows. But here, this is also how you can set your own custom views if you wish. So if you wanted to see what it's like from row 1, we'll just get ourselves in there, sit ourselves down, and here, have a look out the window. There it is. If you wanted to set that as a custom view to recall time and time again, you could now press Control. This is left-hand control, left-hand Alt. Control Alt 1. And then to recall that view, just press Alt 1 again. To return back to the default position, press the letter F on your keyboard, and you're immediately back. Mustafa, is the aliasing effect you see on the upper panel edges, will that be fixed? Again, I think it depends on what sort of level of simulator you're running, and things like that. A few people have mentioned it, so I think that Des probably aware of that as well. Dan, how do I update the FENIX A320 nav data? So you'd need a Navigraph subscription to be able to do that, and that's just another normal way through the Navigraph app, which is the Navigraph FMS data manager. Just have a just launch that and show you what I mean. Famolsky, pushback does not work. Yeah, a few people are saying they're having little issues with pushback. Always make sure, however, that your chocks are removed, that the nose wheel steering is connected. Parking brakes are removed as well. Tish K Gaming, you got hydraulics low pressure in the green. You can't find a way to fix it. Aha, right. You're talking presumably about this here. Look, it's it's perfectly where it should be, yeah, at the top of the top of the marker, the reserve. However, I bet you're flying and I bet your landing gear is up right now, and I bet your green hydraulic fluid is indicating somewhere around here. That is perfectly normal. The green hydraulics are what is used to keep the landing gear in place, so that that fuel is holding up the landing gear. Not the fuel, but the fluid is holding up the landing gear, so it's not where you would normally expect it to be. It's absolutely fine. That is absolutely normal. It has been modelled correctly by the FENIX team. As soon as the landing gear goes back down, then this reservoir will shoot back up. Adam, you can't close your window after opening it. Ah, here's another little gotcha. So if I open the window. There we go, window's open, and you're right, you can't close it, it's stuck. You need to unlock it. Here we go, unlock that, now you can close your window, and then finally, there you go, window is closed. See what have we got there. Captain B, I'm sorry, I don't get your point. I'm really sorry. Set up your own. I've just shown you how to do that, so that's fine. Do I prefer the PMGG 737 or the A320? I'm an Airbus boy, so it's got to be the A320. Chris Marty, how do you go to the cabin view? So you can either download my cabin views on our Discord server, or you can set up your own. Mine look like this. But you can obviously set up your own. Set up your own by walking out of the cabin, and when you're happy with whatever seat that you want, just press Control Alt and a number at the top of your keyboard, and it saves that. Then to record it, it's just Alt and that number again. Right, what have we got? Chris, the Simple profile pin says invalid airframe sharing link. Does it? That's that is strange. Anybody else getting that that problem? We just come down to the chat again. Danny, do I think I'll be able to land at London City with the FENIX? Well, there's a challenge. Nick, when coming into the land, press the autopilot disconnect button on the side stick. It doesn't cancel the alarm. You have to press the master caution, which is inconvenient. Absolutely. So what you need to do in your control options is ensure that on your TCA. In fact, I've not set this up, so let's go ahead and do this. So this is my side stick autopilot. Right at the moment, right. That's why mine, if like yours, is set to toggle disengage autopilot. We don't want that. So what we want instead is, I'm going to just clear that. What I need to find is the autopilot off. Autopilot on, autopilot off. That is what it needs to be set to. And now that will turn off the autopilot, and it shouldn't give you the continuous alarm. I'm going to apply and save that while I remember. There we go. Gary, after spending time in this aircraft, will you see me back in the fly-by-wire? Oh, absolutely, yeah. Anthony, how do you change the lights from halogen to LED? Now, this is a good question, because this was obviously an option that we saw in some of the pre-release streams, isn't it? However, I think for the moment, they may have just disabled that option. I'm going to have to go back to the devs and ask them why that's not there. So as soon as I get an answer, I'll find out what's happened to that. Gandhi, you've just noticed the wipers aren't working also. Is that right? I'm not sure if you might need to have power to those. No, that's not right. Mine are working. I've just wrecked that windscreen, by the way, because you should never turn those on when it's dry. It scratches the windscreen, and you can't just call Autoglass out to repair those. It's quite expensive. Captain McGee, how are the updates handled with the FENIX? Is the whole plane re-downloaded, or is it just an updater? To be honest, not sure yet. We'll have to wait for the first update. Well, is there a way to fly routes using the normal Microsoft Flight Simulator route system? I don't think there is, because this is a complicated airliner that doesn't link in with the Azobo coding. Mark, if you have an Xbox controller, is there a way to control the rudder properly? Not yet. The devs are aware of this. Perhaps our fault. We never tested it with an Xbox controller. We just didn't think. Crazy. When do I think the IAE engines will come out? Sadly, I have no idea, but they are planned, and it will be free. Do you put the fuel pumps on before fueling or after, or doesn't it matter? Right, it does matter. You cannot refuel with the fuel pumps on. So, do you know what? Let me just try something here. Let me try something. I'm going to put the fuel pumps on. I'm going to go to my mass and balance. And should we just try and throw a little bit of fuel on? Let's try and throw a bit of fuel on there. And try and load the aircraft. We'll do it in... we'll just do it for fast time for now. And we'll see if they're actually doing that. Oh, they are doing it. Are the seatbelt signs off? They are as well. I thought that at some point you were going to get a message from the ground saying, "Oi, your fuel pumps are on. Turn them off." I may have made that up. It may now work, but in the real world, no. Your fuel pumps have to be off. Fuel pumps have to be off before you can refuel. Coming down the chat again. A lot of people, Exterminator, reporting issues with toolbar pushback in this airplane. Am I using toolbar pushback or something else? So I've actually been using pushback helper. Yeah, I've been using pushback helper. Bro632, you're very, very welcome. Again, just coming down the chat, trying not to miss anything out. Major Aviator, yeah, I'm afraid I've got no idea when the IE engines will come out. Simbrief Airframe Matt is pinned at the top of the chat for you. Yeah. Colin Evans, it is out now, absolutely. You can take off the electronic flight by clicking the microphone near, but how do you put it back again? Exactly the same way. So if you click it, then click it again. There it is. There's just a click spot as well for the armrest, so be careful not to get that. But yeah, there you go. You should be able to put that on and off. Is the Simbrief airframe invalid for some people? Right, not sure what's going on there. However, if you're on the FENIX Discord server, there is a dedicated channel there in their server with the correct FENIX airframe, so you can go and get that. Right, back to updating your AirAC cycle. There you go. So if you have Navigraph, the Navigraph FMS Data Manager, you can simply obviously select it and update it. I'm not going to do it now while we're obviously running the program. Beavis in Pilot, can you move the seats using the electronic switches on the side? No. Chris, you forgot to put where the camera config. Right. It's in the local cache folder, a couple of folders up from the community folder. Sim objects, airplanes, FENIX 320 goes in there. Hope that helped. Just rewind the stream. Ewald, did you test a controller in between a few weeks ago? But it's probably been broken in between. Yeah, fair enough. You must have been the only person, Ewald, that tested that, mate. David, any chance I can show the difference in screen quality between balanced and performance? Right, okay, let's try that then. So, let me open up my FENIX app. So at the moment my display quality is balanced, my render display is on the CPU. Let's go down here and just check this out. So we've just got the Mcdo, and obviously you can see the hydraulic pages. So I'm going to switch from balance to performance and apply. Give that a second. And oh, hang on, I went the wrong way. I went to performance. So that's performance. Now I'm going to jump to quality. So this should be the biggest, most obvious. There you go. You can see they're much sharper, aren't they? But I'm going to leave it set back to balance because I think, well, that's probably where the best balance is. Charlie says the centre pumps only need to be off. Yeah, but we're Airbus pilots. We don't like working hard. For us, it's on or off, not not summer on, summer off. So yeah, we just turn them all off. That's probably airline SOPs, to be fair, Charlie. Aussies Invasion, I have Thrustmaster TCA quadrant only. I've tried calibrating the throttles, including changing the in-sim controller assignment. I have got Toga and Flex gates to work, but none of the others. So, Aussies Invasion, have you ensured that your control options, let me go and find it, for that, that you've got them bound to throttle 1 axis and throttle 2 axis, not throttle 1 axis 0 to 100% and throttle 2 axis 0 to 100%, because those don't work. Only throttle 1 axis and throttle 2 axis work. There's a very subtle difference between the two. And then once you've done that, setting them up here is pretty straightforward. You just follow the instructions on the screen. Also check out the null zone. Try lowering that as well. Barracks, what music is playing in the background? I have no idea now, mate. I'm sorry. So, Captain Vintage doesn't work for you on the second time, can't put it back, the EFB. That is incredibly strange. Gugoza, does it have a sim brief import? Absolutely, yes it does. Metalbird, which systems are currently working? Which ones will not be implemented? All of them are working. Yeah, all of them are working. Captain B, my Navigraph update window looks sexier than yours. Connor, how do you access company messages? So, Mcdo menu, Atsu, AOC, and receive messages. I haven't got any. Flight Sim, so there's a separate Navigraph data link interface for Microsoft Flight Simulator. The one I showed you is the generic downloader. Obviously both work, but yeah, that's how I update mine. Bear in mind, Flight Sim, you're not referring to, hang on, so the Nav Data app, this thing here, right. FENIX does not appear in the Navigraph Nav Data Center, unlike the PMDG, which obviously does. So you cannot update the FENIX through the Nav Data Center. You have to update the FENIX through the FMS Data Manager. Two different programs. So that is how you would update it if you have Navigraph subscriptions. Obviously don't get the two confused. Captain B, has everyone got their hobby code so that you can use the Mcdo to speak with air traffic control? Again, you can only do that if you're on ACARS. Sorry. You can only do that if you're on VATSIM. There's no real people here otherwise if you're not on VATSIM. Captain said probably if you disconnect the cable from the AFB, after that you can't find it again. Oh, the charging cable! Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, someone's just sent me a load sheet. Dismiss that. The cable is just there. Click it and click it again. It's the exact same place. There you go. That's how you charge your tablet. Matt S, the paint kit has not yet been released. It will come in the future. Gandhi, I'm not on the EasyJet livery just yet. I do have it downloaded though. Bravo, given the fly-by-wire is so good and developing all the time, is the FENIX worth the extra spend? As fly-by-wire will catch up eventually. I think eventually is the key point there. It's when will it catch up. If you want everything working right now, including every possible failure. I mean, for those of you guys that have got this, have you been through the list of failures? He says, trying to find it. Oh, no, I don't want to reset the FMS. Cancel that. Is it in maintenance? No, it's in config failures. Right, have you seen all the failures that we can put in? Bear in mind, these are just the top menus. The amount of sub-menus in here is ridiculous. So, yeah. I think it would take... It's probably going to take fly-by-wire a long time to catch up with that. But, you know, fly-by-wire is essentially, for me and many others, saved Microsoft Flight Simulator, so we're certainly not going to stop flying the fly-by-wire. Lorenzo, how is the FENIX launcher? What settings can you change there apart from video quality? So, that's where you enter in your SimBrief user ID, your Hobbies Aircars code if you're using it. Set the display quality, render the displays either on a CPU or GPU. That's all you need to do in there. Hugo, you have no power in your A320. Right, is the FENIX app running in the background? If not, you need to launch it. It should launch automatically when you start the aircraft, to be fair. Severin, you can't get any request to pull in SimBrief data. EFB and AOC menu is all set up. Right, let's check this out, because a few people have said that they're having issues with SimBrief. So, if I go to my settings, let me just see here. Looking for Sim settings. Are they there? Sim settings. Right. Is it set up in the AFB? It might not be set up in the AFB, you know. Roll. There we go. Right. SimBrief username. You can obviously edit that, but that should automatically be filled in if you have entered it in your FENIX launching app. Yeah. So to get that to work, I can show that working. Let's just jump to SimBrief. Okay. There's that was the last. That was the last flight plan I created. So then, in order to get that working, if we go to my flight, I should be able to import from SimBrief. Tap that again. There you go. I'm late. So that's there. That's all in the EFB. And if we go to the Mcdo menu, ATSU, AOC, flight init data request, should pull all this information through. There we go. Init and init request. The only other thing that I could possibly think of preventing this is if you're using some kind of VPN and maybe some information's not getting through. No, but does it with Microsoft Air Traffic Control? I don't believe it does, no. Santiago, have we talked about the Bravo throttle? Yeah, I'm just saying, I don't have the Bravo throttle, so I'm very sorry. I'm probably not able to help you with that one. Roger, just why are you not hearing the clicking sounds of the APU igniter? Not quite sure, actually. On the left-hand side of here is there. Oh, the external. Oh, you can do it through the Navigraph Data Center. Sorry, guys. Sorry, my fault. So you can do it there, but you just need to go to the external installation. Good catch, guys. I didn't know that, so that's good to know. Ignore what I said earlier. I was talking complete rubbish. Harry, how do you stop yourself from alpha flooring when you switch full flaps on final approach? Have you got auto thrust turned on? And have you filled out your performance page? Actually, that probably shouldn't matter. But yeah, if auto thrust is on, if you're alpha flooring, you're losing too much energy. You can see now I'm trying to catch up with the chat as much as I can. Danny, how do you file the second flight plan? So you can only have one active at a time. But a secondary flight plan is done just by copying the active flight plan. I've not actually gone and set one up though in here. There's half of one. No citizen stars. Jacob's sound settings are done in the flight simulator itself, not in the FENIX. Hugo, the app is launched and still no power. Can you power the aircraft up then, Hugo, now? And have you also signed into the app as well? That's obviously quite important. Captain Vintage, I am very sorry. I've got no idea then why you can't do that. Joe, do we always have to change the panel state in the FB, or is there a way to start at the gate with engines off? There is, yeah. So if you go to panel states, so cold and dark, that is my default. So if I went to the turnaround with APU and set as default, every time I loaded in this aircraft in this livery, it has to be in this livery because everything is livery dependent, then the next time I loaded in, it would be, if I set to default, it would be a turnaround APU state. Bear in mind, every single time you load into the FENIX, it will start with power. Give it 60 seconds and it will power down to the state that you want it in. Chino617, good morning to you. You purchased the FENIX but there's no control support. No, not yet, but it will come. I promise. Well, hello mate, how can we do landing practices fast without doing the whole circuit patterns? Is there any way? Do you know, in an aircraft like this, no, probably not. Probably not. Your best bet is doing circuit patterns. Asvi, does the toolbar pushback work on the FENIX? I've had it work sometimes, I've had it not work other times, but we've identified there's a little memory leak in it, so you're going to get degraded performance over time. So, not too good. Right, Tappy, you're getting an invalid flight plan uplink when loading the init request. So, Tappy, are you using current AirAC cycles, live ones? Are the AirAC cycles in the flight simulator the same as the ones that you're using in SimBrief? Because there could be a discrepancy between the two. Coming down the chat again. Captain London, do I have a tiller assigned? No, I don't. Kevin, how does the aircraft run compared to fly-by-wire? I'd say it's pretty much the same. Is the problem with the controller and gamepad solved yet? You haven't been able to fly the aircraft yet. Afraid not, but the devs are working on it. Gandhi, where do you send the delay code? Oh yeah, so if operations are shouting at you to send a delay code, back to the ATSU menu and AOC. That's where you communicate with your airline, and it's the ADC delay. So you need to send a code in here, and you can find your code, delay allocation card, and then you just pop in the reason. Could do with one that says crap piloting. I don't know what the code is for that. Put that one in, and then for how long for, and then ops will leave you alone. Tigris, how do you know when you go from transition altitude to cruising altitude? Do you mean transition level to flight level? In which case, ATC, if they give you a flight level to climb to, then that's when you're in standard pressure. If they give you an altitude to climb to or descend to, that's when you're on local pressure. Tappy 263, yeah, just I think I just answered that. Make sure that the sim brief air cycle is the same as the air cycle here in the simulator, otherwise the two can disagree. Black lines of Shippy work for me when starting the pushback. I've not tried that. I've used pushback helper and the tablet. Can you upload a flight plan from Pfpx? I've not got that, so I've not heard. But I'd love to hear if you can. Captain Vintage found the solution. Next time the EFB disappears, she'll just steal one from the co-pilot. No. Right. Does anyone want to see me fire the aircraft up? Might as well. I could fire her up and just pop her into a holding pattern, couldn't I? So, let me have a look. Manchester to Gatwick. We'll just fill this out. So again, if anyone's got any questions, Pavel, what about the sensitivity settings of the joystick for the plane? So mine are just pretty linear. Let's have a look. Oh, wrong one. There you go. Left, right, up, down. Yeah, pretty linear. Just with a little null zone in the center, so when I'm resting my hand on the side stick, it's not putting controls in. Peter Porter, which profile in Simbrief is the closest one to the FENIX? So, do you know what? Let me just try and refresh that link at the top of the chat. 1 second. See if this works. Unpin that message there. Put a new one in. Oh, do you know what? That's not going to work because it's huge. Let me just try again. Hang on. Copy that. Maybe that link will now work. Charles, try starting the engines with the pumps off. In real life, the gravity feed is enough to do it. Is it? That'd be interesting to try out, wouldn't it? I have no idea which runway to use for departure. 23 right is the norm here. I'll just go no SID. There we go. That'll do. How do you import the Simbrief flight plan in the Mcdo? So you would just press the init request button just here after you've gone to ATSU AOC and flight init. You need to do the flight init just there. So the init data request, you press this button down here. After that's all been filled out, you can then press what would be here, and that will That will load everything in for you. I have no idea what my current zero fuel weight is. I don't think we've got any passengers on board. So, zero fuel weight will be 0. No, it won't. It'll be the dry operating weight. Do you know what? Hang on. That's the thing with this aircraft. I can't just fuel up and go. Some of the things you've got to do semi-properly, otherwise it won't work. Right, now I've imported that from SimBrief. Mass and balance. Right, we'll load the aircraft up. Resend the load sheet. Reset. And now just re-import that back to mass and balance. There we are. I'm going to throw some extra fuel on board. Load that up. Choose fast time. There we go. Gandhi, should your radar page automatically be tuning to VORs? Yeah, this happens in the real world. So the real world aircraft, if I switch it on now, I'm on the ground, so I might not pick it up. But your RadNav page will tune to the nearest VOR. That's interesting. It's showing Honolulu. It should be Manchester. Maybe it's because we're too close to Manchester, so we're in what's called the dead zone, which would be really, really neat if that has been, if that's been put in there. Is that link not working? Right. In that case, yeah, get yourself on the FENIX Discord server. Captain M, how can you close the window? You need to, once the window is opened, hang on. Once the window is open, you need to unlock it just there, and now you can close it again. There you go. Little feature that's very easy to miss. Flight simulation, how to set up the tiller axis. So that's done in Microsoft Flight Simulator itself, and then you need to enable the tiller on the, is that on the sim settings, this one? Yes, just that. Right. What's my zero fuel weight for this flight that I've currently got loaded in? Go to my pilot brief. Von, your link's worked, has it? Why does mine not work? That's interesting. Zero fuel weight is 56.2. Just throw in a standard centre of gravity in there. Oh, I didn't download the winds. Request the winds. Hugo, you still no power with the app running. That is incredibly strange. Other than making sure you're fully logged in, I'm not sure what else to suggest for that, my friend. How much fuel did we request? I can't remember. If it's what we got on. 7.6, refueling's done. So there's our takeoff weight. Let's go now to our performance calculator. Oh, wrong one. Daniel, what do you do if the thrust in the FENIX is not obeying? How is it not obeying? Just sync the final load sheet, get live weather. 23 right. Mic 1. There we go. 134, 134, 137. So what I am going to plan on doing is quite a lot of tutorials with this aircraft and a lot of live streams. So I'm just zipping through this setup here. We're not doing it realistically at all. Well, we're doing it semi-realistically. 68 flaps 1. What I might do is kind of like a live tutorial flight at some point that you can all follow along. Afi, what kind of problems are there with the aircraft yet? Don't try and fly with a controller, like an Xbox controller or something like that. Right, I think that's pretty much all done for what we need to do now. We've got another company message. What's that? Hey Dark Fury, how you doing, my friend? So I've got my preliminary load sheet. Where's my final load sheet? Oh, I'm not accepting that one. That's the one with no passengers on board. That's not normal. So let me just have a look at the ground, see what's happening with the ground handling situation. We'll see if we'll be able to push back now. So, ground services. Oh, we need to start the APU. Ah, right. Did you see how that didn't work? There's a reason for that. I pushed it too soon. You need to wait 3 seconds between turning on the master and then turning on the APU. There you are. So that will work. Fuel pumps are on. The seatbelt signs can come on as well. Oh, Dark Fury, we've got channel livery coming up. I'll look forward to seeing that later. So what I might do is I might just chuck us into a hold at Sandba. There we go. We'll just fly a little holding pattern. Maybe come back in for the landing later. So what's next says, thanks for providing the camera file. This is great for the wing views. We still find the default to be far too zoomed in. So this one here. Yeah, look, that is my default view, which is fine. I like that. A lot of people are telling me, however, that they're getting a zoomed in ones, which might be like this. So I'm not entirely sure what's happening with that. That will be a question for the devs. Get the APU started. APU bleed is on. Brendan, there are no preset wing views, but you can either download mine from our Discord server, or you can obviously create your own. Creating your own is actually really easy because you can walk through the flight deck door. But I don't think you can walk through it when it's closed. Let me just check. Oh, you can. I was going to say that'd have been kind of neat if they'd have turned that into a solid wall. Maybe they can't have moving solid walls in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Never mind. Okay, so I'm not really running any sort of checklists here. I probably should, just to make sure everything's all set. Everything looks alright. Am I on live weather? I must be. Boarding's completed. APU's on, GPU can go, remove the chocks. I've still got a door open. That'll close, I think, automatically in a minute. Have I got my final load sheet now? Let me see. There's two ways to get the final load sheet. You can just sync the final load sheet, or you can check on the box down here and see if your latest one has come through. It's not come through down there for some reason. It will do if you leave it long enough. But I'm just sync the final load sheet. Takeoff weight is 63.6. Do you know what? It'll do. It'll do for this. We're not doing it properly. We're just going to get her up into the air. I am going to just clear those other old load sheets though, because otherwise the eCam doesn't clear up there. Diego, is this A320 compatible with the replay mod? I've not actually tried that. With regards to changing that default view, I'm not actually sure. I mean, this is a good default view, particularly when you're landing. Not enough people look out the window, which is obviously quite important. Right, let me just get rid of the ground services. Close that down. Close that down. And ground services. Say goodbye to our jetway. Close the door. There we go. Danny, you can download mine from our Discord server in the Pilots Briefing Room, or you could set up your own. To set up your own, put the camera where you want and press Control Alt and then a number. That's left Control Alt and then a number. Mark, was it exciting being part of the test crew? I remember when we first got the aircraft to test it, we were just blown away by the realisms of it. It was, yeah, it was amazing. Right. Let's see if our tug will do the business. Beacon light is on. Just reset that. Acupressure is in the green. Transponder is set to auto. Let's see. Do we have a tug? Here he comes. Dark Fury, I've not set the tiller up because I've got nothing to set it to, so I haven't had a chance to play with that. Okay, nose wheel steering is disconnected, that's important. Why is that cabin door still open? It's not now. Lock the flight deck door. Oh, no, don't turn that on. Oh, I've just fried all the ground staff. Wrong one. Flight deck door. Okay. Let's just push back then, shall we? Christopher, do I not have a full Airbus control set? Yeah, I do. I just don't have rudder pedals at the moment. Although I am going to get some. Matt S, with the two load sheets, do you run the performance calculation twice or just wait for the second one? So, no, what you would do, and again, this is where we're going to sort of start doing things real ops so we can see how it's all done correctly. So you'd run the initial load. You'd run the initial calculation, but you'd be a little bit conservative with it. So you could add maybe an extra, just round up your so if your takeoff weight was planned to be something like 63.2, run it at 63.5. Then if the final load sheet comes through telling you that there's a couple of passengers we've had to offload and your takeoff weight is lighter, then you don't need to run it again because your performance is still valid. Now, see if we can judge the pushback now. Now see, this is what happens. The tug driver stops whenever you tell it to go left or right. It'll push you back straight, but that's it now. My tug is done. He's gone for an early lunch. And I don't think I can actually get him back. No, look, tug is unavailable. And even if I use pushback helper, the external app, it still doesn't like it. It just doesn't like to turn for some reasons. I've had that issue a lot. Oh well, never mind. We'll steer ourselves where we want to go. Here's another little bug at the moment. I'm going to see if I've got a key binding set to this. So my right mouse button, every time I press it to pan around, see the ignition switch? Never used to do that. So let's just go to Escape, Control Options, Mouse, and select an input. Right mouse button. Free look, focus cockpit. Ooh, what's that? Cockpit interaction secondary action. Interesting. Let me clear that. I wonder what the secondary action is. I may have just broken something I didn't mean to. Oh, no, it did. Well, whatever it is, it didn't fix this. Never mind. In that case, in order to look around, just use the middle mouse button. Is engine 2 started yet? No. That company message has come through. That'll be our final load sheet, won't it? Yeah, there it is. So that's our final load sheet. So takeoff weight 63.6, etc., etc. And we've planned for that anyway because we synced our final load sheet. I can't wait to do. Would you guys like? Because there's lots of little figures in here that obviously you don't get with the fly-by-wire. We're not completely happy with. Would you guys like sort of like a live tutorial whereby we'll sit on the ground and we'll do a flight, say somewhere shortish, sort of I don't know, Bristol to Glasgow, Bristol to Edinburgh, something like that. Where we're not on VATSIM, of course, and we just do it, all of us together, side by side, so you can have me on your tablet watching along, you can sit at your PC, and you can do it alongside me. Would that make would that be any good at some point? Sort of like a live tutorial session. Right, engine mode selector to normal. I've got to keep an eye on the time as well here, guys. I've got a school run coming up. And what's our trim setting? Trim setting is 28. So that'll do. Right, let's go, shall we? So look how much thrust I'm putting in on engine number 1 at the moment to move. And the fact that it takes a while for that engine to spool up as well, it's not instant. Tambajan, where's the gyroscope like in the FENIX demo video? You mean the standby instrument? You have a choice. You can either have the integrated standby instrument, or you can have the good old-fashioned, what you call the gyroscope, the little ball. So I've got I've gone for the old. I've gone for the new one. You see. What's the airport elevation of Manchester? Is anyone able to just find that out for me? Love how the aircraft just bobs along as well. I don't know if you can see that in the stream. Dances, what's the scenery pack am I using? So this is Mcdo Simulations Manchester Airport. Chris Perkin, Google says 78 meters. Yeah, I'm afraid I needed that in feet. Thank you! 257 feet. So if we were doing a circuit, we'd fly at about 1700 feet. I've got trees in the middle of my scenery. That's a Rex AccuSeasons issue, is that? Not had those before, so something has changed since World Update number 9? Will Corey, no. Anthony, do I have nose wheel steering mapped? No, I'm just using the rudder. Look at her bouncing along. She's bouncing to the music. Gorgeous, gorgeous aircraft. Keep an eye on the time, and I do want to try and get a landing in as well, because it's always good fun at Manchester, trying to land by the hump. Should we... I might set her up for a circuit here. If I'm going to do that, I quickly need some charts. If we do manage to get a live stream in tonight, I can't promise we'll get one in tonight though, guys. I am sorry about that. As I said, I've kind of abandoned the family this week with the FENIX release. But if we do manage to get one out, what would you like to see? Real ops? Finally, an EasyJet real ops, because we've not done that, have we? What is my S speed? Sorry, S speed. Yeah, 189. I need to go back to Manchester. I love Manchester Airport. Sitting by the pub. Bahama Mama, is the performance of the FENIX really that bad? Check out the stream, mate. What do you think? Chucky, will this be my go-to aircraft now, or continue in the fly-by-wire? It will be both. Honestly, it will be both. But I think, obviously, this is new to us, isn't it? And it's, well, it is amazing. The level of detail is absolutely amazing. Gandhi, the little panels at the bottom of the windows are solar panels. Are they? Is this mic 1? Yeah, it is. Do you know what? I'm actually going to leave those packs on. I'm going to go Toga anyway. I know we've done the performance, but I'm going to leave those packs on if I'm going to fly a circuit. I don't have to worry about them then. Right, just something else I want to do before I do that. Let me just go to my fixes page. Echo, Golf, Charlie, Charlie, 2-3 right. And what is the course of this? The course of that runway, 2-3 right, is 232. So 142. There we go. I've now got an beam down there. Lovely. Okay, should we go for a bit of a flight then, guys? I will stop that music, then you guys can hear the engines. Turn that up a little bit. Hopefully won't be too loud. So we're going to take off, level up, make a left turn, fly the circuit. Don't forget to activate the approach phase. Pulling S speed as well. We're aiming. It doesn't matter if we overshoot 1700 feet, but that's going to be our. Our altitude for the circuit. So see how slowly they spool up. V1, rotate. Pull it through that 10 degree, don't let go. It's not got rotate low, remember, so we're just going to have to hold it, hold it, hold it. There we go. Set climb thrust. Start to level her off. Full S speed, which is 189. Keep flat 1 out. activate the approach phase. And start a turn. About 25 degrees of bank. Set the reciprocal radial 052. That's what we're aiming for then. Hand flying this as well, guys. No, no autopilot. We've just climbed a little bit. Let's get it back down to 1,700 feet. So what I haven't done, I haven't put the. I've just realised I've not got Manchester Airport approach back in the box. Never mind. But she's so nice to hand fly as well. And I would highly recommend just doing a few circuits of an airfield just to get the general feel of the aircraft. Right, so where is she? There we go. There's Manchester. Just come slightly off track there. That is quite a strong tailwind. So we'd now normally fly for 45 seconds, but with that tailwind, knock 17 off for that with a 17 knot tailwind. So 28 seconds we will fly here, and then we'll configure and turn downwind and hopefully land. Go. So we'll now turn, go flaps 2. Start a shallow descent. Flight directors should be off, don't need those on. The weather's just changed.
1,000.
So if I'd have set this up properly, obviously we would have had the correct approach shown on here, but I haven't set this up properly because we were obviously just messing around on the ground a little bit. Little below that profile anyway. And we will do a touch and go. Lugan, sometimes, yeah, the first time you load the aircraft, I have seen that happen before, where you load it in and it crashes. You just load it back and it's a second time round and it's fine, isn't it? So we'll bring her back in, land, stand the thrust levers up, go flaps 2, do it all again. Must be quite windy in Manchester today with that tailwind, although it's dropped off a little bit now. So sometimes you do have to fight to push the nose down. Don't be scared of that. Not too much.
$40, $30, $20, retard. 5.
There we go. Nose wheels down, set flaps 2, go toga. And rotate. And 1200 feet back to the climb descent. SB 189. Activate the approach phase. And we can begin that turn again. Did you guys notice as well? This is really neat. When we went toga, obviously I was in track FPA mode, but when I went toga, it automatically puts it back into nav mode. Not nav mode, but heading mode, which is really neat. And the flight directors came back on as well, which again is exactly the same as the real aircraft. Flight Sim, thank you so much for your very kind super chat. Hope you've enjoyed the little stream this afternoon. Just sat playing around with our new aeroplane. In terms of performance, is the FENIX heavier than the fly-by-wire? Not sure actually. I'd have to check what the weights were that they've modelled for this. I think this is quite a light airplane actually. That wind's got up even more, hasn't it? So what would be helpful is if we had the runway track showing on here. I've not got it showing because initially when I was setting up just to show you guys how you loaded in a flight plan to say go to Gatwick, that's what's still currently in. But if you want to do more of this, check out the channel. There is a tutorial on how to do circuit training, which is good fun, and it's a great way to learn how to handle the aircraft. So about 28 seconds we'll start to make our base turn. There we go. So go flaps 2, landing gear down. A little balloon effect as well there. As flaps 2 came out, we got a bit of extra lift. So sorry if I'm not watching the chat too much at the minute, just as I'm obviously concentrating on landing. But those are those wing views that we've now got that you guys can enjoy if you wish. Let me go back and doing here. Where's our airport? So we turned a bit too sharpish. There it is. Velix, I don't use Rex ground textures, no, but I do use Rex AccuSeasons. And Baker, there is a FENIX model, a SimBrief model for the FENIX. If you go on the Discord server, it's there for you to enjoy. Completely lost my concentration there as I was reading the chat. I've just gone straight through that centre line and let the nose drop a bit too much. Let's get back on that centre line, shall we? This is how not to do base training, by the way. This is just how to play with a new aircraft that we've just been given. Base training, when pilots go through it, they need to do 5 successful takeoff and landings under the watchful eye of the instructor.
100.
And obviously he will take over if he doesn't feel like he's safe.
40, 30, 20, retard. 5.
Down we go, flaps 2 and toga. I love how long those engines take to spool up. You think, oh my word, come on, I've applied toga, where's my thrust? Positive climb, gear up. feet, let's set climb thrust, level off, pull, S speed 189. Flaps 1. Activate the approach. And go around again. (052). This is Manchester Airport. Manchester from Mcdo Simulations. Reset the chrono as well. Carl, is the FENIX different to the fly-by-wire? Yeah, well, in handling, a little bit. Systems, no. It's just a lot more in depth. And if you like realism, like I do, then this aircraft is an absolute beauty. Super JC, you've heard rendering displays on GPU is better than CPU. It's different for everybody. It all depends on the setup you got. So there absolutely is no one model fits all kind of thing. It completely depends on everybody else's hardware. Velox asks if I'm live tonight for some real ops. It really does depend. Maybe is going to be my answer. I'm afraid I can't promise. It's been a long week of Microsoft Flight Simulator this week. But I think a live tutorial flight is on the cards at some point. Major aviator window, I think the AE engines will come out. I'm afraid I don't know. We've only just got this amazing aircraft, haven't we? Let's enjoy this one for a little while first. There's Manchester Airport. And the M60. Normally, base training is done at a more remote airport than this. Tilsbury, I have no idea what could be causing you that. Oh, I'm very late with my turn, excuse me. Venice, when you say speed callouts, do you mean speed or do you mean, are you talking about like sort of V1, rotate, or all that sort of stuff? They're not included by default in the FENIX. Where's my runway again? There she is. And then this time, guys, we're going to go for a full stop landing, so we don't have the spoilers as well. Because I'm afraid it's school run time for me. But hopefully, guys, you have all enjoyed this afternoon stream, answered any questions you may have had, and we're going to be answering questions, I think, about this aircraft for a long time, because there is just so much to enjoy with it. What an amazing aircraft. And I can't wait to start doing real ops flights.
500.
Because while I've still been learning the intricacies of it, we've not been doing those. Oh, that headwind giving me the extra lift that I don't want. There we go. Keep it on that nice profile. Full stop landing then this time, guys.
$100. 50, 40, 30, 20, retard. 5.
Beautiful. So, spoilers deployed. Reverse green. Disconnect the auto brakes. And we'll roll off onto a siding somewhere. And that's one of my favourite places, dead ahead, the Aviation Viewing Park for at Manchester Airport. Wonderful. So I will be around again as much as I can on the various Discord servers to try and help out if anyone has any more questions regarding the FENIX. Velux, does this have its own physics? Oh yeah, the flight modelling of this is very, very good. But yeah, What a glorious aircraft. And remember, guys, that our custom views that you're seeing here are available now on our Discord server. Go ahead and get those. Enjoy them. But I'm definitely going to enjoy streaming this aircraft more and more and more over the next coming days and weeks. So until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the afternoon. Hope we've answered some questions if you had any. And I'm just thrilled that this weekend the flight sim community can enjoy this amazing aircraft. Awesome. Right, guys, I have to shoot. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. And if I don't see you later on, have a great weekend. Goodbye, everybody.